Hi guys, today we are going to be playing with one of the most beautiful palettes that I have seen in a very long time, and this is from a brand that I've sort of had my eyes on ever since they launched. They've been around for, I don't know exactly how long now, but I feel like the first videos I saw with this brand was maybe around a year ago, and I saw a lot of my favorite channels and the people that I watch talk about and use this brand. But by the time I kind of had watched their videos, their first launch was sort of a bit old, and I was like, maybe I won't pick up this one, maybe I'll just wait and see what they come out with next, and then I'll pick up their next release. And so this is actually the case, except that the owner actually reached out to me a little while ago and she was like, hey, would you like to try our brand? I can send you our newest palette as well as the first palette that we came out with. And so this is the brand called Fantasy Cosmetica, and they have come out with their first palette, which is the one that I was talking about before. This is the Druid palette, and this is such a beautiful color story. It's grungy, it's colorful, it's kind of neutral. It's so yummy. Like, this is so beautiful. I've already filmed one look with this, which you will see at the end of the video, but I want to mostly focus on their newest palette because the newest palette hasn't released yet, and this is called the Sorcerer palette. So, oh my god, when I swatched this palette and I was looking at the swatches, I almost drooled a little bit because, oh my god, they look so pretty. And this palette, I can't wait to dig into this. Like, after using the first palette, I'm like, I know I'm going to love this because I think if the formula is the same in both palettes, which they seem to have been after swatching them, I think I'm going to have a great time with this. And after I used this palette yesterday, I sent a message to the owner and I was like, hey, do you guys have codes? Because I really like your formula. I don't usually accept codes right away until I've like tried something and I know that I like it. And so I do have a code with this brand now, and it's just Annette, and it will save you 10% off. It is affiliated, just so you know, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could get a discount if you wanted to pick this palette up when it launches. It does launch on the 12th. I'm not sure exactly what time. I will have that down in my description box as well as a link to the website. But yeah, we're gonna test out this palette today, and I'm just, like I said, I'm so excited. I think that this color story is everything, and I feel like a lot of the time with brands that have these kind of shimmers, their matte formula isn't always that great. But so far I had a blast with the mattes in this palette, and the mattes in this one felt really nice and creamy and smooth and buildable. And so we're gonna see what these palettes are like, or especially this one, because I'm so intrigued. And the shimmers in here are just so pretty. I love this kind of shimmer formula. It's like kind of smushy and squishy and smooth and silky and just looks wet looking on the eyes. And I'm so excited. Can you tell I'm excited? This one down here is actually a multi-chrome. It's a kind of blue to pink to green kind of shifty shade, and again, also beautiful, beautiful shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by priming with my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. We'll see what I end up doing color-wise. I haven't really decided. I want to try to, you know, play with as many colors as I can, but I also don't want this look to be like too all over the place. Like, I want it to be nice and cohesive, and as much as I would love to just be able to do 10 looks with every palette that comes in, I'm struggling to keep up a little bit because since eyeshadow palettes is the thing that I like to review the most, it just ends up that I have too many eyeshadow palettes at all times, and I'm not able to do as many looks with everything as I would like and not get completely behind and not destroy my eyes by doing too many looks. Like, I know I used to do like 2-3 looks in a day because I wanted to get like videos up quickly, but honestly I feel like it aged my eyes like 10 years every time I did that, and it's just not, my eyes were just not happy. So I'm limiting myself to doing 1 look a day, which again, I wish I had 100 eyeballs because that way I could really play with these things, but I do not. So we're just doing 1 look, and that is totally fine. So let's see, what is the color that is screaming to me the most? I'm thinking I want to use this shimmer. This shimmer reminds me a lot of the shimmer that was in my collab palette with Udensai, which I do not have in front of me right now. But if you want to see me do like a swatch comparison with these shades, maybe I can do that in a different video, because I do feel like they would be kind of similar. Not like exact dupes. The one that I had in my palette, the collab palette that I did, which is no longer available, is a lot smoother and less textured, and this one is definitely more like creamy, and I don't know if I would say textured, but it's more of a thicker formula. So I would say that this one might have a tendency to crease a little bit more, but we'll see. I'm not going to make any judgments because I don't know for sure, but I do know that shades like this do tend to crease on me, but that's just a me thing, and it doesn't really bother me at all. So let's see. I want to use, I think, the blue maybe this blue and this sort of eggplanty shade, maybe that's what I want to do for the mattes. Maybe I'll use a little bit of this one as well. Actually, let me dip into this one kind of lightly. I don't want to have a lot of this. It actually picks up quite a bit on my brush here, which I actually like when shadows do have a bit of kick up in the pan and they pick up nicely. But I'm gonna try to just fluff a little bit of this just like in the front portion of my crease there. I'm gonna try to go lightly. I don't want to have a lot of this. I just want to have just a little bit of pink, just like right here. I'm taking this kind of up towards my brow here. Again, I don't want to have a lot of this. I just want to have that little bit of pink kind of poking up after I go in with the blue. And I'm sort of using this kind of as a bit of a nose contour and just flicking it up into my brow. So I think this is where I'm going to leave it. That was very nice and pigmented. Again, I did go in very light-handed, so don't judge this shade by the way it went onto my eyes now, because I did make a conscious decision to not go in. I'm like throwing shit all over the place today. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm gonna take the shade called Wild Magic and I'm gonna use that as my crease shade. Now I'm gonna go in a lot heavier with the shade. I'm really coating my brush and I'm not gonna tap it off, and I'm just gonna start really packing this into my crease area, and that is a really, really pretty blue shade. Oh, I really like that. Gonna see how that sort of mixes in with this pink here. And it should create a little bit of a purple just where these two colors touch each other, which I think is gonna look really cool. And I feel like this color is actually showing up a little bit darker on the eyes than it is in the pan here. Which again, I really enjoy that quality in eyeshadows because I like to be able to build them up to be nice and intense. I'm not taking this all the way up because I do want to use that purple shade on the very outer corner of my eye here. So this morning while I was getting ready to film, I don't know if this is something that's been in the back of my mind for a while now, but I just got this intense urge to like completely redo my filming room. I don't know what it is, but I don't feel, I don't know if inspired is the right word, but this room isn't really like making me happy right now because it's kind of a mess and it's all over the place, and I just want to have a little bit of a change. I don't know exactly what that is yet. I'm going to take this under my eye as well, but I just want to do something different, and I'm thinking, this is going to sound really bad, but I've had so many trips to like IKEA in the past and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna get like new storage units because the ones I have are like literally falling apart because drawers are like cracking, and it's a bad situation. But I still haven't built those things because I'm like, well, I need someone's help, and I'm not one to ask too many times. My husband's been really busy and stuff, and so it hasn't happened. So now I'm like, you know what? Just need this to happen. Maybe I just need to do it myself, but I really want to like build the stuff that I have, get those new storage containers into my rooms, or like storing unit, whatever you want to call them. I want to set those up nicely. I want to take everything out of this room and just completely clean it. I want to get a new carpet because the one that I have I don't like it at all. I mostly bought it because I wanted it to help with the sound, and I hate the color of it. It's like a dirty yellow mustardy color, and it doesn't go with like the room at all. The walls here are blue and it's just not looking great. So I want to do that. I don't know exactly how I want things to look in the end, but I'm thinking maybe something like getting a huge like bookshelf in the background could look kind of nice, instead of like having the backdrops, and then I could like organize the bookshelf, put like my palettes in there, or maybe just like products and stuff and make it look kind of cool. Not really sure, but I'm having ideas, and I want to figure out what it is that I want to do before I end up buying anything. Like I want to have a plan, if that makes sense, and I'm not usually someone who has plans when it comes to these kind of things, let's be real, which is why things hasn't happened yet that I wanted to happen, because I'm like, I want to have like a new storage unit. I don't know what I'm going to do with my old ones. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I don't know what I'm going to put in it, but I want to have a new one. So I need to figure out like a plan, figure out what it is I want to do, figure out how to do it, and then just do it, I guess, because like I said, I want some things to change and I don't know exactly how, so I'm gonna have to think about that, see if I can figure something out. Maybe I'll film the process, probably won't, because I'm not someone who's really into like interior design and making things look perfect. Like, perfection is not my thing, but I just want things to be a little bit more organized in here. I want to do like a proper big declutter. Again, I don't think I want to film it. I just want to do it for myself. I just want to keep the things that make me happy, and filming declutter is just kind of, I don't know if I should say make me uncomfortable, but I feel like there's just so much pressure to like, I don't know. And there's always just people who ask you for your makeup, and I just, listen, I cannot be sending out free makeup to everybody because that costs money too. So discarding of the makeup is always hard, and it makes me not want to declutter, and the whole thing is just like a frustrating process. But I do think if I just did what I wanted to this room and made it look nice, I just feel like it would make me a little bit more inspired again, and it would just feel good, you know? I feel like every YouTuber kind of goes through this where they're like, oh, I'm going to change my background, I'm going to change everything, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then, you know, they stick with that for a while and then the same thing happens again. I feel like I haven't had that happen to me as often as I've seen it happen to other people, but I think it might be my time. I feel like the last time I did something was when I got my backdrop, and don't get me wrong, I really like having the backdrops because it makes it so I don't have to worry about what's in my background and I don't need to keep it tidy, but I don't know. I also really like watching people who have things in the background because it looks kind of fun, and it's nice to see things being switched out when it's like new seasons, and it's also fun to shop for things to put in the background, even though it costs money, but it's fun, right? So yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of word vomiting right now and letting you know my thoughts and how I feel, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll have a think about these things later. Maybe I'll do some browsing online for ideas and whatnot, but look how beautifully this palette is performing. Like, that looks so nice. I really like this color combination. I like the pop of color in the pop of pink in the inner corner. I think that looks really nice, and this purple is performing like a dream. It's building super nicely. It's looking so smooth on the eyes. It's blending out like a dream. Having a great time with this. I mean, this has been so quick, and I think I'm pretty much done with the mattes. Like, I think this is all I want to do. Oh, I love this color combination. That looks so good. I think that's what I want to do with the mattes. I think what I'm going to do is I want to use... Now, there are a couple of shades in these palettes that aren't just aren't my favorite, but I also understand why they're in there, because there's a voice in me that's like, you should use this shade. And it's this one right here. Like, there's this one in this palette, and then there is the other shade in this palette, which is down here. Both of these are sort of a very dry satin shade with like kind of like small little glitter particles. It's almost like the shades from ColourPop that has like little glitters in it but are matte, but these feel a little bit drier and grittier in a way. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I don't love that formula myself, but they do look good on the eye, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna use a little bit of this one. This is a shade called Chaos, and this is kind of the same formula, but I feel like this one is a little bit looser pressed in the pan, which I do appreciate. I'm not gonna use this with a glitter primer. I'm just gonna put this on the outer corner of my eye to sort of use to blend into that matte shade, and I think that's why I don't mind them, and I do appreciate that this formula is the darkest shade in the palette, or like the darkest shimmer in the palette, because this is how I like to use these kind of shades. And like, don't get me wrong, like it does look really nice on the eyes and is doing exactly what it is that I wanted to do, but I would much rather this have been, you know, another one of those like really sparkly shades. But that is just me. Like, I totally get why this is in the palette, and it actually does look better on the eye than it's swatched, because these shades don't swatch that well, but I feel like they perform better once you put them on the eyes, and I'm quite happy with how that's looking. So I think I'm gonna use some glitter primer, because I love how these kind of shadows look over a glitter primer. Where did I put that? I did buy a new one because I'm almost out of the one that I have. So I always use the one from NYX. I know I say that in almost all of my videos, but I feel like every time I don't say it, someone asks which glitter primer that I use. So I do use the one from NYX. I'm just taking a little bit of this on a flat brush here. This is the same one that I just used. It's the MAC 242, I think, which has completely rubbed off because I use it so often. I'm just gonna put that glitter primer on my eyelid where I want my shimmer to be. Again, not using a lot, I'm just using a little bit of this to give some tack, and it looks like I have blue eyeshadow right there, and I don't know how that happened. I have no idea how that happened. So I'm gonna have to fix that, but for now, let's go in with, do I want to use this one or this one? They're both so pretty. Like, look at that. And look at that. Like, they're so pretty. I'm tempted to just go with this one because I know I'm gonna love it, but maybe I'll use, this is so tough. Okay, fine. Let's do this one because I can't help myself. It's just gonna look so pretty. It's gonna look absolutely beautiful. I just know it. I'm just gonna put that on the rest of my lid. And that does indeed look beautiful. It's a little bit of a chunky shade, so it's probably going to show some texture on your eyelid. If that is something that you don't like, you might not love this shade, but it's also in return gonna give you that beautiful, shiny, wet duochrome finish. Oh, that looks so pretty. I am pulling this quite high up here because I just cannot help myself. Like, that is absolutely beautiful. And I will link some other videos that I've seen with people using this palette. I haven't watched any of their videos, but I have seen people use this palette. So I will link some videos that I can find down below if you want more inspiration and if you want to see people use more shades, because like I said, I simply don't have time to do like 50 looks with each palette, even 2 sometimes, because this is just a lot. My poor eyes can't take it. So like I said, I'll link some videos down below if you want to see people use this palette more, but so far I am having a great time with this. That is so fun. I might do like some kind of a liner or something. I haven't really decided, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish off with this look, and then I'll come back. I'll show you the other look that I did with the Druid palette, and I will sum up how I kind of feel about these so far, because yeah, these are beautiful. And here is how I decided to finish off the look, and I think it looks so cool. I love this look. I did do sort of a blue wing here with one of my water activated liners from Glisten Cosmetics. This is one of my split liners that I have in the shade called Blue Heaven, and I used the lightest of the blue shade. Just did a little bit of a wing and then a tiny triangle just in the very inner corners of my eye. I also used a blue highlighter from Bitter Lace Beauty, which is, you guys know, probably one of my favorites. I don't use blue highlighter very often, but I'm using this one right here, which I think is in the shade, let's see, I should know this, Lucid. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to say something wrong, but I think it looks really nice. And I also put some on my brow bone, and I think it looks beautiful. If you're wondering about my lip, I have a lip, this is an expensive lip, I didn't even realize. I have a lip liner from Pat McGrath in the shade Divine Rose. I bought this in a mini set that came with a lip liner, a gloss, and a lipstick. And on top I have a Charlotte Tilbury, what are these even called? They're like one of those balm thingies, like the shiny balms. This one is in the shade Crystal Happy Kiss, Happy Kiss. That's a fun name, but also kind of weird, but I really like how this looks. And I really like this formula. If you're not someone who's a fan of like sticky glosses, you probably wouldn't like them, but I find these to be extremely long lasting, and they're not sticky in an uncomfortable way, but they're kind of like thick and they stay on your lips very well. And I love the way that they look. They're easy to apply, they're easy to reapply, they just look really nice, and I really like that formula. I also tried a new mascara today. This one is from One Size, and it's called the Fantasy Mascara. I saw this on the Sephora website when I was looking to buy a new mascara, just a backup of the one, or a new foundation. I was looking to buy a backup of the foundation that I have because I'm almost out. And I saw this in the new section, and I was like, yeah, you know what, let's try it, because it has the kind of wand that I really like. It's one of those like spiky plasticky wands. And I gotta say, even though this is really annoying to apply because it's such a mini that like I feel like I'm gonna get this all over my nose and all over myself, the mascara is really nice. Like, I really enjoy the formula on this. It reminds me of the Bad Gal Bang, but this is a little bit more of a thicker, not as wet formula. So if you feel like Bad Gal Bang is a little bit too wet for your liking, which it is quite wet in the beginning and I like that about it, this is a little bit drier. And I feel like it gives you more volume rather than length, but it does give you both. And I personally like something that gives me both because that is just what I prefer in my mascaras. But I do prefer length over volume if I had to kind of choose one of them. And I feel like this is more leaning towards volume over length, but it's still a really nice mascara. If you want to try it, I would say give it a go. I mean, like I said, the mini is kind of annoying to apply, and it reminded me why I don't like mini mascaras, because I feel like they're just messy, but that could also just be a me thing. But yeah, let's talk about the palettes, because so far I have had such good, look at that. Like, just, that looks so good. You can't tell me otherwise. Like, that looks beautiful. And I'm so excited to have these palettes in my collection. I don't know how much more I'm gonna be able to do with those anytime soon, but oh my god, they're so pretty. And I just want to put all of these on my eyes because I love the color story too. Like, the color story, I feel like I haven't seen this color story before. Like, I've seen similar kind of things, but not exactly this. And honestly, like I said before, I do feel like this is kind of a little bit of the same vibes as my Giant Wolves palette. Some of these shades are quite similar. Like, this dark purple is kind of similar to one that I had in my palette. This blue is sort of similar to one that I had in my palette. I also had a pink like this, and so like, you can get sort of the same idea and the same looks out of this palette if you didn't get a chance to pick up my collab palette. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I think these are absolutely beautiful. I will show you the look that I did with the Druid palette now, because that one also turned out so good, even though it was quite simple. I only used 2 shades in my crease. I used a green one and I used one of the sort of brownish ones, and then I used a couple of the shimmers, and again, it just looked so nice. It wore so beautifully on me. I didn't have any creasing at all, like all day, and I don't really have anything bad to say about this palette. I think it's really, really nice, and I think that despite being only a 9-pan palette, and like, you don't have that many variations in the shades within the palette, but it's enough that you can do distinctively different looks with it, and I feel like it's quite versatile. I think my only thing with this palette is that I wish that both of the kind of brown shades weren't so similar. Like, I would have liked for there to be just a little bit more of a difference between the two, because I feel like this one and this one, even though they're not the same shade. Like, this one is definitely more of a purplish brown. I don't know if that is the right way to explain it, and this is more of like a brown. I actually love this tone of brown. I think this is really nice, but I wish that this was just a little bit different. Not sure exactly what that would be, but just these two are maybe a little bit too similar, but that's just me. But I still think that this palette is beautiful, and if you've been interested in the brand and you think that you would like this color story, you would definitely like the formula, because I feel like their matte formula is really nice. Their shimmers are obviously beautiful, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future. I love that they have like a little theme going on here. These are going to be very collectible. I like that they're 9-pan palettes. I like that I have both mattes and shimmers, and I like that both of the mattes and shimmers in these palettes are really nice. Because like I said in the beginning, a lot of brands who have these amazing shimmers, they kind of fall short on the mattes, and I feel like Fantasy Cosmetica is definitely doing something right on both ends. So I would highly recommend it, and I had a great time playing with these. Thank you so much for sending these palettes my way, and don't forget to use a code. It doesn't have to be mine if you want to save some money. I think other people have codes as well. Let me know if you have anything from this brand. Let me know if you're interested in this brand, and I think that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see some other multiple look videos, because I have plenty of those, I'll put a playlist up on the screen, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.